Considering how well my Kazuma vs Subaru video did, I think it's time to do another versus video, which again like last time is a recommendation from one of my most avid of viewers, Saudi bin Talib, and you've all read the titles. Let's get down to comparing two of New Gen Shonen's best underdog protagonists, Izuku Midoriya and Asta. Anyway, if at any time during the video you find yourself entertained, then consider liking, subscribing and ringing the bell, as you don't know how much such a small action can do for this channel. Anyway, on with the video. Oh, and spoilers for the entirety of the My Hero Academia and Black Clover animes, and there will be manga spoilers later in the video for both, but I'll give fair warning before mentioning them. Anyway, you have been warned. Both Deku and Asta share the similarity of being protagonists born into their respective worlds, but lacking access to the main power system of the world. Midoriya is quirkless and so doesn't have a unique superpower like everyone else in his world, and Asta has no magic and so cannot use magic like the rest of his world. They are in this way very similar characters, however the main difference, at least in terms of them being separated from the universe's power systems, is the nature of these two power systems. So let's start first with Midoriya. In the world of My Hero, the majority of people are born with a quirk, a unique superpower, and those who use these powers to save others are called heroes. And the hero society of My Hero Academia idolises these heroes a hell of a lot, to the point that most kids with flashy or powerful quirks are funneled towards becoming heroes, Bakugo being a great example of this. As in the hero society, there is nothing cooler than becoming a hero. However, what happens when a kid fails to become a hero due to lacking a flashy quirk or just being unsuited to the job? They get marginalised from society, of course, as prejudice and the pressures of society are as a whole one of the series' biggest themes. Labrava and Togat, for example, both had quirks that were considered creepy and as such were outcasts as a result. They both lacked proper counselling on their quirks and ended up defined as a stalker and a blood-obsessed freak as a result of their own quirks, which, let me remind you, they didn't choose to have. Gentle, as another example, wanted to be a hero no matter what because that's what society said he should have become, because society always wants more heroes. However, he was unsuited for the job and failed as a result. But now imagine that you didn't just fail to become a hero because you were unsuited, or because your quirk was considered creepy, but instead never had a chance to become one to begin with. Gentle at least had the option to study to become a hero, and Toga having a quirk and all still had the possibility of taking up the profession the whole of society praised. However, Izuku Midoriya never had that option. He was born quirkless and as such was in the eyes of society the farthest from ever becoming a hero. Those with creepy quirks were marginalised and those with mutant quirks were actively discriminated against. However, below both these groups were those who were quirkless. Midoriya is an underdog because he physically lacks what comes naturally to everybody else. He lacks a quirk and so doesn't even have a leg in the race that every other kid his age is competing in. Therefore, in order to become a hero, and in order to become someone acknowledged by society, he has to overcome his disadvantage and overcome the fact he was born quirkless. Asta, on the other hand, was born without magic. In the world of Black Clover, everyone has magic. The amount of said magical power, though, in this world depends on what your place is within society. The royals and nobles have the most innate magic and the peasants have the least. This is physically represented in this series by how those with the most magic live in the capital at the centre of the kingdom, whereas those with the least live on the outskirts, where they are at risk from other countries being close to their borders but unable to defend themselves due to their low magical power. It's an imbalance. The strong are safe whereas the weak are exposed to danger. It is a clear hierarchy both in terms of power and position in society. So if the protagonist of Black Clover was an underdog, then of course they would be a peasant, someone who was weak both in terms of magic and position in society. But Asta takes that one step further. He has no magic whatsoever. Even the weakest of peasants has a shred of magical power, but Asta has none. Asta, in a sense, is below even the bottom dredges of the Clover Kingdom. He is right at the bottom of both society and the power scale, with no one below him but everyone above him. Midoriya was robbed of his chance to become a hero due to being born quirkless. However, Asta had his position in society laid out from the start due to being born without magic, and as such was doomed to live at the very bottom of society. However, neither of these two protagonists just sat idly by, and neither merely accepted their circumstances. No, they both worked to change them. Midoriya studied heroes as much as he could, and excelled at his studies just so he could get the chance to go to UA, his dream school. Asta, unable to train his magic like his peers, trained his body instead. He got stronger not with magic but with hard work, to the point that he is the second physically strongest character in the series. However, just hard work and diligence wasn't enough to help these two stand shoulder to shoulder with their peers. There had to be something else. To Midoriya, this came in the form of All Might and the quirk One for All, and for Asta this came from his Grimoire and anti-magic. Midoriya was given his quirk by his idol All Might, and as such was given a chance to go to UA to become a hero and to stand alongside his contemporaries. Some say that Midoriya got one for all through pure luck and chance, but that couldn't be further from the truth. All Might only picked Midoriya as his successor due to the hard work and resolve the boy showed. Midoriya never gave up on his dream, he never stopped wanting to be a hero and never let himself be crushed by society. He threw himself in harm's way just to save another, and that's why All Might chose to give him one for all. His hard work, his resolve, his drive to not give up after years and years is what gained him one for all. He earned it, he didn't just get it by chance. Just like how Asta may have gotten his Grimoire and anti-magic by chance, but without his years of resolve and hard work, he wouldn't have been able to use it. Anti-magic is channeled through swords, really heavy ones, so even if Asta had given up on being a magic knight and still received his Grimoire, he wouldn't have been able to suddenly go back on his choice and become a knight. No, because if he did, he would no longer have the strength to wield those swords. Midoriya gained one for all as he never gave up on his goal to become a hero, and Asta was able to use his Grimoire and become a magic knight due to never giving up on wanting to become a knight and never ceasing his training. They are both in this regard incredibly resolved, and although Midoriya's hard work is more mental, battling against the weight of society, they are both incredibly hardworking individuals and both earn their right to stand up despite the shortcomings they were born with. However, they aren't identical, with one of the biggest differences between the two being the idea of proving yourself. Both Midoriya and Asta spend much of their respective stories trying to prove they are worthy, but in completely contrasting ways. Asta spends his time trying to prove himself worthy to be the future Wizard King, competing with the other knights to show that even without magic he is just as strong as them. In this way, Asta is spending his time making others acknowledge him and proving to them that the strength he gained through hard work was just as powerful as the magic they were born with. Midoriya, on the other hand, spends his time trying to prove himself worthy of wielding one for all. As shown by the Overhaul arc, he doesn't feel worthy of his quirk. It could have gone to someone greater such as Mirio, therefore he spends his time trying his very hardest in order to be the best hero he can be, and to prove to himself that he is worthy of being All Might's successor. Another difference, and probably the most striking between the two, is their different attitudes. Yes, both are resolved and will save others out of the goodness of their hearts, but whereas Midoriya will sneak behind the backs of his mentors to do what he believes is right, Asta will charge headfirst into battle with no concern for what others say if he thinks he is needed in that battle or that his presence may help others. One is loud and one is quiet. One charges headfirst into battle while one uses strategy and thought. One makes an active effort to make friends with everyone they meet, while one is a nervous boy but has good people gravitate around them regardless. Asta will surpass his limits and Midoriya will go beyond plus ultra. Both are extremely resolved and will go above and beyond even at the cost of fatal injuries to do what they feel they must. Either character would sacrifice themselves for another, no questions asked, and the resolve to do so is immense, so even if Midoriya is more timid, the fact he puts his life at risk to save others makes him just as brave and strong-willed as Asta. The next section of the video will discuss manga spoilers for both My Hero Academia and Black Clover, so skip ahead to this time here if you are anime only. There isn't much I want to talk about manga only wise for these two characters, but there is one specific thing I'd like to mention, that being that both Asta and Midoriya suddenly discovered a new facet to their powers later into the story. For Midoriya this came in the form of his other quirks like Black Whip and Float, whereas for Asta this came in the form of discovering his devil powers, and in both cases this extra power only does more to deepen the thematic depth of their independent struggles. Midoriya, after gaining these other quirks, realised the true weight he held on his back, that being the inherited wills of all the past users of One for All, and so must push forward so not to dishonour those past users who gave him his quirk, his chance to follow his dreams. Asta, by realising he gained his power from a devil, is thrown to the bottom of society once more. Not only is he a magicless peasant, he is also a host to a devil, an evil creature that almost destroyed the capital. However, Asta, now supporting not only himself but Libe as well, must prove not only his worth to the world and his strength, but also that not all devils are evil, and prove to the world that even with a devil at his side, he can become the Wizard King. So based on this, both are now not only trying to prove their own worth and overcome their shortcomings, but are also carrying the weight of another, so can't falter not just for their own sake, but for the sake of those they carry as well. The characters really are similar, like scarily so, but that doesn't mean one copied the other, or that either is bad. I personally prefer Asta to Midoriya, though I prefer My Hero to Black Clover. Asta just has that confidence and drive to jump into any situation that Midoriya lacks, and that to me makes him a more compelling character. Although I do appreciate Midoriya's kind heart and reservations, I personally enjoy Asta's blunt but good-natured attitude a bit more. They are both great underdogs and both do the utmost to prove themselves worthy, so I have no issue understanding why you would enjoy either one over the other. And yeah, make sure to tell me who you prefer and why down below. Let's get a discussion going. Comment of the week comes from Hero Thinker, and I didn't just pick this comment because it's flattering me. Okay, I might have done it because it's flattering me. If you have any opinions on Midoriya or Asta, then tell me in the comment section down below, and if you have a suggestion for a future video, then again the comment section is funny enough down below. Also, don't forget to check out my Twitter at SethDS for channel updates and just general chatter, and my DMs are always open if you want to talk to me directly. Or check out my Instagram at SethTheSin_cosplay to see my cosplays or random anime merchandise. So with all that said and done, I have been Seth the Sin, the Deadly Sin of Geek, and I am signing out. Stay safe everyone.